Welcome to the 3 Knockdown Rule. Starring Mario Lopez and Steve Kim. Presented by Hustler Casino.
Hey guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our show on YouTube. It's fun. It's funny. I break this guy's balls. His wig looks crazy every week, but it's still worth doing it. Check out these badass shows we got right now. Check it out.
Even though Mario's on it, you'll still learn something, and it's still some insightful analysis. And then I bring the funny, and I don't know what he brings.
No.
What are you talking about? I'm the star of the show here.
You bring the grumpy.
Oh, but the grumpy. Anyway, like and subscribe.
Yes,
3
please.
Knockdown
We
Rule.
appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 Knockdown Rule is back in effect, brought to you by Hustler Casino. I'm Steve Kim, and we're joined by my co-host, Mr. Mario Lopez.
Yes, no moniker today. You know I get disappointed when I don't have a moniker today. Quick shout out to Smoke and Tim Frazier, but we have a very special guest.
Joining us again, a regular visitor, the editor of Ring Magazine, Mr. Doug Fischer.
Doug Fischer.
Thank you.
Great guy, unless you need to have him return a call. Don't work for a suicide hotline, Doug, or you'll be dead.
Straight to voicemail. Work it out on voicemail.
Cold as ice.
Well, we've got a jam-packed show, but first, these special messages.
Listen, if you finally want to be thin, but you can't stay consistent because dieting only makes you want to eat your face off, you got to try GLP-1. It makes you eat like a normal person, and you still lose weight. Yep, you can eat stuff like a burger or pizza, tacos. LifeRx is the best place to get it. It's just $250 a month flat, and you don't need insurance. Look, they don't give awards for suffering, so just tap below to start with LifeRx now.
All right, and this podcast is brought to you by Hustler Casino. Mark your calendars Thursday, August 21st, because Hustler Casino is throwing a party you won't want to miss. They're celebrating the 1,000th episode of their award-winning live poker stream, Hustler Casino Live. Join the action with $1,000 cash giveaways every other hour from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., plus a live DJ, exclusive swag, and plenty more surprises. It's going down at Hustler Casino, and trust us, you want to be there. Stop by, get in the game, and see how big you can win this summer at Hustler Casino, or find out more at hustlercasino.com.
Round 1.
All right, we begin round number 1, and let's get into it, guys. This past weekend from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Moses Itauma blows out Dillian White in 1. He's now 13-0, 11 knockouts. Doug, I'll turn it to you. Is he really ready for an Alexander Usyk?
No, but I'll say this. That doesn't mean that he shouldn't go for it if the opportunity is there. And it makes me think of a great former champion, like seriously, one of the all-time great heavyweights, Larry Holmes. At some point late in his career, he started fighting just up-and-comers, not legit top 10 contenders. Sometimes he blasted them out. That's what happened with Marvis Frazier.
Right.
But other times, he went life and death with them, and that's what happened when he fought Tim Witherspoon.
Yeah.
When he fought Tim Witherspoon, I think, had 14 or 15 pro fights. He really hadn't been tested. He passed the eye test. Witherspoon looked good. Like, he was a complete fighter. He was athletic. He had power. It seemed like he had guts, but you don't know. Like, in boxing, like, if you have athletic talent, if you're dynamic, you're a sprinter, right? You're going to get a lot of early round knockouts when you're fighting other up-and-comers or journeymen or formerly world-class fighters, like veterans that are, close to being pushed off that edge if they're not already falling, like Dillian White. So you can be a sprinter, but at the not just the world level, but the elite level, you got to be a sprinter, you got to be a middle distance runner, you got to be a distance runner. Boxing's not just a sprint. We know this guy can sprint. Can he run an 800? Can he run a 1600? Can he run 2 miles? Because that's what Usyk can do that. Usyk can get you out of there like he did in the rematch with Daniel Dubois. And he's definitely not afraid of a long distance contest where he needs a finishing kick, like he pulled ahead of Anthony Joshua in their rematch. Whenever he needs to dig deep, he can do that. That's proven. We haven't seen that with Itauma, but that doesn't mean that Itauma is not a dangerous matchup for a 38-year-old undisputed champion.
We also haven't seen if he can catch much. He hasn't really gotten tested too much.
I don't ever recall seeing him get hit.
Well, that's a big factor. Look,
yeah.
I like what I see, and
Sure.
I've been high on this kid for a while. He's got all he's big. He's 6'4", right? Big 6'4",
and
like
he's a solid 240.
Yeah,
right?
he's like a linebacker.
But Steve said it. We saw him in December, right? In a Riyadh show. And we were there, but we were watching on a monitor because we were doing a watch-along. But you said it numerous times. He's a heavyweight with the agility of a light heavyweight.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. He kind of actually moves like even almost a middleweight in the sense that he's very athletic.
Light on his feet.
Quick. He's twitchy. He's a southpaw. He can crack, obviously. Like I mentioned, we don't know if he can catch. I love the trajectory he's on. Do I think he's ready, quote, for a Usyk? No, not necessarily. However, like you mentioned, if the opportunity presents itself and the finances are right, okay, so he goes up against Usyk, and let's say he loses. There's no shame in that, and he can only get better.
Exactly.
And if he puts up a valiant effort, then his stock can continue to rise. Now, if I'm Usyk, I want him right away.
Yeah.
Because I'm 38 years old, and there's really nothing else left for me to accomplish. I'm already starting to take a lap around the block. In a perfect world, I think for the sport, I'd like to see Usyk fight Parker and Itauma fight someone like a Daniel Dubois, and then those two meet. And then I think he'll be that much older. Itauma have a little bit more. We'll see. Dubois has got heavy hands.
Yeah.
He can crack. We'll see what he's really made of. It might even buy into the hype. But I know Turkey's mentioned that he wants to see it right away. Maybe
that lets you know that the money's going to be with that fight.
the money's going to be with that fight. So I'm not opposed to it. But in I guess if you're his manager or his promoter, I think you may want to kind of. But then again, look, like I forgot who said it originally, but you risk the danger. Either way, you're going to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
So you want to get benched for $1-2 million or possibly
if I'm
40,
his
50
manager,
million.
I want at least one or two more fights.
I
know he can kill at the 100 meters. Maybe the 200 meters.
Right.
I don't even know if he can run a strong
Saturday
400.
was a 40-yard dash.
Right. Yeah.
With the win.
But so many of his fights have been 50-yard dashes.
His last 4 fights have not gone even 2 rounds. And here's the other issue. People talk about Mike Tyson being so young, tearing through the division. But Mike Tyson
Was
in 1986 had James Quick Tillis.
10 rounds.
That was a really tough fight.
Yes, it was.
And he also had guys like Mitchell Blood Green who extended him to the 10
rounds.
So there was a certain
And he also
seasoning.
fought like a dozen fights that year.
13.
Yeah. Okay.
Jose Rebalta took him into the 10th round.
13 fights in 1 year, and I believe Itauma, that's his total number of fights.
Right.
So, look, we can't go back to that. Unfortunately, it seems like we can't go back to that era and that yesteryear of these fighters being busy. But for what it's worth, he's busy by today's standards. He looks primed and ready to go as the next best young star in the sport. I still think there's another tier I'd like him to compete in, whether that's the Dubois, the Zhang, the Bacoli.
I want to see him in there with
big
somebody
guys
that can just take him rounds. even if
Jermaine
they're
Franklin
There
is
you
a
go.
name
Yeah,
that's being
I like
brought
that.
up.
And heavy-handed
he
guys.
He takes guys the distance.
Let's see how he does with heavy-handed guys, and he may have to, catch. So
Keep
let's
this
see.
in mind. If he fights for title and wins it right now, that means he'll be about 14 or 15-0, and then he'll be stuck at 2 fights a year. And I believe overall, because that's what happened to Anthony Joshua, he stopped becoming an active fighter for about 7-8 years afterwards. I believe that stunted his development.
Yeah, he went from being a prospect to a world title holder.
Yeah, because
he
they saw
didn't
a
really
soft
have
spot.
a contender phase.
It's funny that you say that even as an Olympic champion.
Yeah. Well,
You know, 'cause
heavyweight.
that was-
Well, here's the thing, though. With Anthony Joshua,
They saw a soft spot.
Right, in Martin.
Yeah, Prince Charles Martin.
And they said, you know what? Prince Charles, you want to make $4 million? And they said, where do we sign up? And they blew him out. Here's the other thing. Right now, he is number 1 in the WBO, though, guys. We could say if he's even a top 10 heavyweight. Ring Magazine coming into this weekend did not have him in the top 10.
Yeah.
Number
He will
one,
be rated. He'll be number 10.
Okay, so he's number 1 in the WBO. All of the belts are held by Usyk, but Joseph Parker is the interim WBO champion. I believe Joseph Parker, whether Egis Klimas is going to go by that edict or not, he does have dibs on that particular fight, and
he
Itauma
deserves it too.
is number 2 in the WBA. So he's sooner rather than later. They aren't going to necessarily marinate this all too long.
The WBA always
smart
has like
not to.
3 or 4 guys with their quote-unquote world title. Is there like an interim WBA heavyweight champ or a regular WBA heavyweight champ that
I
he can knock over?
didn't really notice it, but I did notice that Parker is the WBO interim. Now, you know the way these interims work. These interims can become permanent over time. Okay, there's no time frame, although the BO does a pretty good job in following the rules. Here's the thing about Itauma. You talk about the mobility, athleticism, has every punch, moves in and out.
Yeah. Also,
full
technique,
arsenal.
technique and timing.
He puts his punches
He's not
together well.
reckless. He's not like, like as bright a prospect as Zab Judah was. He was like almost all on the prospect level. He did mature into a complete fighter and a really good technical boxer, but right out the gates, his athleticism was overwhelming. So he was like 90% speed. He was this explosive southpaw.
Yes.
And he was, he just walked in there. He knew he was going to decapitate guys, and he was just blowing them out. And I don't see that with Itauma. I see somebody who's very calculating in there, even though he's getting rid of guys early.
He does seem very savvy in there, and not necessarily weathered, but he does seem like he's. It's like he's been in there before and been doing it a long time, but he hasn't been.
He's precocious and he's mature.
Correct. He matures.
So when you
right,
hear
yes.
him interviewed, it's like, God, this guy sounds like he's 30.
Yeah.
He's got like a wisdom. He's very patient. There's a real poise with this dude. So, maybe he is ready for anybody in the top 10, including the champion.
I asked this on Twitter on Monday afternoon. I said, hey, guys, a lot of you guys are saying, well, Tama's not ready because you think he's not going to win. But I'm looking at this top 10, especially 10 through 6, Ajagbe, Bakole, Zhang, Wardley, Hrgovic. Guess what, guys? I don't think they beat Usyk either.
No.
Right?
No, they would be like 30-1 underdogs, right?
Ooh, that big.
But somebody like F.A. Ajagba, I like that.
Oh,
I like that as like
a litmus test.
Yeah, a litmus test. Somebody who's pretty sturdy, who also has some power. He can punch, but he can also box. He showed us that with the Bakole fight. I thought he won that Bakole fight, by the way.
If the Usyk fight is not next, who is lining up to face this kid right now? I got to imagine there's some financial incentive for them now at this point.
Because, Riyadh season is definitely firmly behind this kid.
Right.
Turkey likes him. And I get it, because on the UK boxing scene, we've seen two future Hall of Fame heavyweights. Their careers pretty much run their course, kind of ending with back-to-back fights against Alexander Usyk. We've seen that with Anthony Joshua. We've seen that with Tyson Fury. They're going to stick around for a couple more years, at least until they fight each other, because that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But pretty much, we've seen their primes come and go. So who's next on the UK landscape? Well, and who's out there that can excite American fans? And Itauma has the kind of style that American fans will get excited about. And typically, American fans, they'll get behind a heavyweight before they get behind a featherweight.
Sure. Well, speaking of UK fighters, Tyson Fury feels he's ready.
Yeah.
Already to
Yeah, he says he's knocking out all old men, but he didn't include himself in that list.
I noticed that.
Yeah, bro, you're 35.
Yeah, keep this in mind. He's still only 20, and I'll be honest with you. When you say, Steve, who's the second best young heavyweight in the world? I'm not so sure there is one. It's not Jared Anderson. I'm off that bandwagon. I'll tell you that much. He seems much. I was driving it, and I just said, "Let me get off here. Let me just leave the keys on the seat." Look, I'll say one thing about guys like Itauma. I don't believe that he'll say to anybody, "Well, at age 23, I think I'm done with the game." You know what? Just quit now. Then you're already halfway out the door. So we'll see what happens. We will monitor the progress of Moses Itauma. All right, looking ahead, guys. September 13th. Canelo versus Crawford. Doug, we've talked about this fight before. One last thing. Has your mind changed on what you saw about, 4 months ago? When you were out there, you saw William Skull run circles around
that changed
Canelo.
My mind, definitely. Well, I mean, first of all, I wasn't asking for this matchup. If you talk about 2 years ago, right?
I don't know who was.
Right after Crawford beat Errol Spence, I'm thinking, all right, he's the undisputed welterweight champion. We finally have the champion at 147. I'd love to see him defend the undisputed title against his alphabet mandatories, which would have been Boots Ennis, right? He was like the IBF mandatory. Imantas Stanionis, that would have been his WBA. Eventually, his WBO mandatory would have been somebody like Brian Norman Jr., or whoever Brian Norman Jr. beat to get that vacant WBO title. I wanted to see that, like the old kings, kind of like a Marvin Hagler, king of the mountain, and just kicking down all challengers. And with Canelo, I wanted to see him defend against David Benavidez. That's what I was thinking. Somehow it got out there, that Crawford threw the name out, and Canelo kind of poo-pooed it at first. And when people were going back and forth on whether or not that was a legitimate fight, I was thinking it's an interesting matchup, but it's one that Canelo definitely wins because he's a super middleweight. Now, we could say pound for pound, Crawford's better than Canelo. I think so. I think he's a better talented, better, more complete, versatile fighter than Canelo. But that doesn't mean he's a better super middleweight. It was that simple in my head. Crawford, so I was just I'm Team Canelo on this, but I still want to see the matchup. And then I saw Canelo in Riyadh against William School, and I'm like, oh man, he's falling off. He just doesn't have the reflexes. He can't pull the trigger, especially on a moving target. And listen, Skull's a big guy. He's athletic, and he fought scared, no doubt about that. But despite the official scorecards, despite our good buddy Chris Mannix's scorecard, which I think he had 10 rounds to Canelo, I'm like, listen, I don't want to reward a guy who's boxing the way William Skull did, but Canelo wasn't landing. I mean, listen, I have no problem with Canelo winning that fight, but Skull was winning fights just on landing a jab and getting out of the way.
Couple things. I think, well, I know because I heard it from his mouth. Crawford himself didn't even think this fight was going to be legitimate at one point. You remember that old video? You guys, it's too many
Google
weight
is a
classes.
thing. Google is a thing.
Really? He himself said it until it became.
But he said that after the Errol Spence
No,
fight?
about 3 years ago.
No, about 3 years ago.
Even
You're right. You know
before
what I'm
Errol
talking
Spence.
about. Yes, he said, nah, and he goes, that's just, there's weight classes for a reason. He said everything we're saying right now. There's weight classes for a reason. Once it became a financial reality, well, then all of a sudden his tune changed a little bit, and I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either.
And I love me some Terrence Crawford. I really do.
Yeah, but here's the thing. 3 years ago, Canelo still had a little bit of a fastball.
But
He was a little bit sharper. He was like...
They both
He
were.
wasn't putting 3 and 4 punch combinations together, but he was at least putting 2 punch combinations together.
But they both were. I would counter with the Crawford I saw against Madrimov, who Ortiz I thought blew up, wasn't the same Crawford that I was used to seeing either.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Crawford's actually older than Canelo.
Yeah.
I know Canelo's got a lot of tread on those tires, but they both were, I think, sharper 3 years ago than they were now.
But Mario,
all I know is this, is that, and the Skull thing, really quick with the Skull thing, I think Canelo went in there and thought, this motherfucker's going to run all night.
No,
I'm
I
not
know
chasing
that.
his
No,
ass.
mentally,
I'm not chasing his
he
ass.
was not there. But
yeah.
I also saw in his body. His body looked kind of flat.
Yeah, I don't think he's the kind of guy I think that gets up for these fights.
Sure.
He's usually pretty much a pro, but I think
20 years in the pro
exactly.
game.
And I think
of
he kind of phoned that in. Two things on that point though. Crawford's not a runner. Number one.
Yeah.
He's never been more of a runner. He's more stationary. Now you're asking him to put on all this weight. He's going to be even more stationary.
And it looks like he's doing it, too.
Yes, and he's going to even be more in front of you right there. So you got a guy now that's more stationary, heavier. I think the reflexes and I think the speed will be diminished a little bit. How can it not be? You just put on 20 pounds. So how can it not be against a guy who's naturally, and I think Canelo's taking it very serious and is going to prepare really hard. And I just think that we're all doing mental gymnastics here, and at the end of the day,
I'm still doing it. Listen,
you know what I'm saying?
I was Team Canelo, and then after the School fight, I'm like, no, this is not an easy fight, but I get it. I get where Crawford's coming from, and it's not just a financial choice. It's not just he's looking at the junior middleweight division, saying like, "Good Lord, that's a jungle out there."
Doug,
maybe I can have a mission of trying to unify titles at 154, but man, that's a serious.
Well, it's risk versus reward.
Yeah,
but Doug,
and you're getting paid well, but not generational money.
Look,
well, that's
Mario.
And I think that's the whole incentive.
But
in that,
but
and that's
also,
the
I mean,
factor here.
yeah. Listen, but now I'm flipping again. Everything that you just said, I'm starting to think of that. I'm going back and I'm looking at their fights, and I'm not just looking at Canelo looking slow against Skull. By the way, Canelo taking Jaime Munguia the distance and Edgar Berlanga, those victories have not aged well. Both guys have been knocked the F out
but guess
in
what?
subsequent fights.
Yes, they have.
What's up, Canelo? How come you couldn't do that?
That is a fact.
Yes, they have. I will say this, though. Canelo's been a little bit busier. How long has it been since we've seen Crawford in the ring, too?
Crawford has not
More
fought
than a
twice in a year, in about
it's a
4 to
year.
5
It's
years.
exactly
And
one
he
year, right?
fought
The Madrimov
last
fight was-
August.
yeah.
It was
exactly
the
1 year.
Madrimov fight. And if you're going to...
But he's been a once-a-year fighter for like 5 years, right?
I don't know if that's going to bode so well going up against 2 weight classes and you didn't have.
I think it preserves.
You know what I mean?
I think like Mayweather did that for
He's
a
a
long
clean liver.
stretch.
Yeah.
And he lives clean, but he's going to be a little bit rusty.
Doug, you know what I recall?
And he's going to need reflexes.
And you know what else, Doug? I keep thinking about.
I'm on the fence, bro. I got to be
and-
honest.
Oh, no, you're not. You're back on the
and
fence.
No,
here's-
because I've been watching Crawford's fight, like from like the last 3 or 4 years. I've been watching his fights, and I'm just seeing these instances where he's getting nailed clean with right hands.
that Madrimov, and I was there. And
but
here's
not
the thing-
just Madrimov, other guys.
No, I know, but that's the latest,
I mean,
right? That's the latest we have to go off. And here's another thing that I keep thinking: he will be right there. I saw Canelo in person walk through Triple G's punches for 3 fucking fights.
Yeah.
Walk through. Crawford, you're not going to tell me he's going to hit harder than Triple G.
Yeah.
And Kovalev, who can crack.
Light heavyweights.
Big
Bivol
guys.
can hit.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's going to, I don't think it's going to feel like ping pongs coming up to Canelo. I think
might.
that's a huge factor,
Sure.
don't you?
Of
Hagler
course, I
felt
do.
the same way, and Doug, what you went through, the famous story, John the Beast Mugabe, after 4 rounds, Ray Leonard tells Michael J. Fox, I could beat this guy. Sometimes a fighter sees something, and I remember being there at the StubHub soccer stadium. De La Hoya fought Steve Forbes.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be the Mayweather rematch. Mayweather ended up retiring the day after the contract was enforceable with the rematch clause. So they ended up doing like a Pacquiao thing. But I remember watching that fight saying, Mayweather is going to mop the floor with that De La Hoya.
Yeah.
I actually
he
think
probably would have got a stoppage.
I
in
mean,
every
I
match.
actually think Mayweather overthought it. He should have taken
did.
that rematch, but I think he wanted his freedom. And when they
Well,
made
that was
the
a close first fight, though.
It was, but that was probably Oscar's last hurrah.
Right.
Correct, but it was a close first fight nonetheless, which made him
was.
think. To your point, really
Yeah.
quick though,
Oh,
that was an
right.
older De La Hoya that fought
Well,
Stevie
this is
Forbes.
an older Canelo, though, isn't
but
it?
it's an also old. No, but he fought a very young in his prime Pacquiao as opposed to.
But
it's not
you're-
a young-
what
if you
about
were-
the
hold
amount
on,
of
hold
fights,
on.
the
If
amount
you were
of
coming,
fights?
if you were coming at me with a young in his prime Crawford, different
Yes.
as opposed to a young in his prime Pacquiao.
But Mario-
you understand?
That's a
we
good
got
point.
2 older fighters.
Yeah.
But Mario,
Pacquiao
are
was
you
just coming
looking
into his own.
That's exactly.
going in.
I mean,
He was
and he was a fucking
starting to put it
hummingbird.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? That's exactly right.
But Mario,
As opposed, this isn't
almost-
a
And
young
that was his
70
first fight
fights.
above 135, so
Exactly.
he brought the speed and activity
So-
of a
Exactly.
junior lightweight / light.
So
Those
Mario,
things like floating on air back
Keep
then.
this in mind. Canelo was creeping towards 70 fights.
I know.
There's a
Yes, he
lot
is.
of miles on
20
that
years.
odometer.
No,
It's
I
a-
know.
it's
No,
a
listen.
different-
Do I think it's going to be an easy fight? Hell no. Do I think it's going to be competitive? Yes, and I do think it's going to be fun. But at the end of the day, I come back with he's been the more active fighter. He's naturally fit into that weight class comfortably.
Yeah.
I didn't love the way Crawford looked last, and now you're asking him to jump 2 and the power factor, and it's not a young Crawford, it's an older Crawford.
Yeah.
I just think it'll be a little bit too much. I'm happy to see him get his pay.
Here's another
Absolutely.
factor. I actually think Crawford, in the immortal words of Herman Edwards, will play to win the game.
and that'll be
Hello?
to his detriment.
That'll
be to his detriment.
That'll be to our benefit,
Our
though.
benefit, but his detriment.
But
you know
in
what
the
I'm saying?
eyes of the official judges,
It is Vegas.
yeah.
Now,
Wait, but that bodes well for who?
Canelo.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I wanted you to be clear.
Judges
That's what I'm
love
saying.
Canelo.
They gave him a draw for the Mayweather
We-
fight.
I
No,
wanted you to
I
be
mean,
clear
come
on
on.
that.
Yeah,
We're
well,
people here.
one of them did.
Can't judge Ross.
Yeah.
The old CJ. And speaking of that fight, what a beautiful special edition. I'm in this one. I'm very proud of it.
You're in that one?
The
better
great
believe
David
it.
LaChapelle.
Wow.
Great artist, celebrity photographer.
Yeah, that looks
director.
really cool.
Yeah.
The whole thing is dedicated to you guys have never done this before.
It's been a long time, at least. To my knowledge, to my memory, it's the first time we've dedicated an entire issue to one fight, one match.
That's big.
Just 2 fighters. It's an extra size issue. It's 128 pages of beautiful art,
Wait, this one's
photographs,
open.
and of course, editorial content. Steve Kim has an interview with the great Rudy Hernandez. It's the battle plan and
the Kimster.
how Rudy would train Canelo to beat Crawford.
And then Adam Abramowitz has one with the bread man on
Right.
the opposite corner.
on how he would train Crawford to beat Canelo.
Now, is this
Great
going to be
stuff.
available at the fight?
Yes, it will.
This is
Is it the-
nice.
Yes,
This
it
is
will.
nice.
Official
the quality
program?
is
Yeah.
next level here.
Yeah, look at it.
From the people you've spoken with in the sport, Doug, what would you say the ratio is?
With insiders, it seems 60-40 Terrence Crawford.
60-40 Terrence Crawford.
Boxers,
Interesting.
boxers love Crawford. Trainers love Crawford. hardcore fans, industry folks love Crawford.
Robert Garcia spoke to him about 6 weeks ago at his new gym. He likes Crawford.
It's
surprised me.
actually
Yeah,
hard to find insiders that favor Canelo who aren't Mexican.
right. That's the caveat. That's the caveat. Yeah,
I'm not being biased. Tell me if I'm crazy. Am I being crazy?
No, the one non-Mexican that I can think of that's really vocal that doesn't give Crawford any shot is Sean Gibbons.
Right.
And he's kind of Mexican.
Yeah, he kind of is. And Filipino.
Yeah, he's definitely Filipino. Yeah. He's honorary.
Let's get this clear, because I get every time I post something about Ring Magazine, hey, where can I get it? That's the number one response.
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
There's a Barnes and Noble in every state, in most cities, and they're going to be doing an extra promotion with this particular issue. This is our August issue. It's the Canelo
issue.
Crawford special. So they're going to have it up front. It's not going to be hidden away on the racks.
Will this be sold at Allegiant Stadium or available on the ground?
Oh, yes, it will.
Be. So it's basically the official fight program.
Basically, yes.
Damn. What else is going on with the ring you could tell us about? Any new updates?
Oh, I've just been on that grind, man. Like, we had to have this thing finished for this to be on sale. And it goes on sale August 19th. So
Okay.
it goes on sale this week. So it should check your local Barnes & Noble. Check your Walmarts, check your Albertsons, check your independent newsstands. It's going to be available in Canada and the UK. But Barnes & Noble, to me, is the best place to get it.
And then before that, you did a Inoue cover.
I got to
one.
send a box or two of these to Mr. Ohashi in Yokohama, Japan.
You're right. I'm
So
in the
we can have
minority.
those.
These guys are picking Bud right now.
Oh yeah, no, they
I'm
love
staying-
Bud.
Hey, I love me some Bud, but unless
know.
my eyes deceive me from what I saw last. And you know what? The last point, what I saw Ortiz, and I know styles make fights. What I saw Ortiz do to Madrimov, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, right? Didn't that cross your
Yeah,
mind?
absolutely.
Valid
No,
points.
weight classes, it matters. Your weight matters.
Did you see when Bivol was showing his arm?
Yeah, because he tried to punish it, tried to tenderize
Yeah,
it.
well, that shit looked like he did hit him with a tenderizer. It was all bruised and
that
red
fight
right there.
wasn't Canelo at his best either.
And that's my
He
point.
wasn't
He
very
still
focused
was
going
with
into that
car.
fight.
And that was
And he
75.
had some-
It was not
yeah.
68.
And
No,
he
I
had
know,
some-
but
yeah.
still,
So
that's what you
injuries.
don't think this guy. He's gonna feel those punches too. He's gonna be feeling them. That matters. People don't realize when you do go up, you may feel when you receive, it's gonna be
Yes.
different.
I have a
That's
question.
gonna
I
be
mean,
very different.
punches that Crawford blocks, it's going to knock him off balance.
Yeah,
I believe.
exactly.
So I have a question. So if Crawford wins, is he now top 15 all-time pound for pound guys? I mean,
hard to say,
undisputed
but you can
at
start. He's already
40,
a Hall of Famer.
47, and
Yeah.
then 68,
You start going
and a
back-
champion at 54 and 35,
If he-
undefeated.
if he
I mean,
wins,
Maybe top 30. He's definitely pound for pound number one now. 'cause that's
Sure.
Yeah.
And then you
That's
start
a
thinking about
pound-for-pound
his
move right there.
generation, maybe.
his generation post Pacquiao Mayweather, he is
Yeah.
number one. Has
Yeah.
to be, in my view, if he can get
Which
this
is saying
done.
a lot because he's sharing this era with Alexander Usyk and Naoya Inoue.
Yeah.
Correct. It's kind of hard to believe.
I actually just sent
big
in
deal.
my latest article, a tribute to the late, great Tommy Brooks. Doug, did that make you feel old?
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
It did.
I mean, when I grew up, when I saw the main events fighters, it was Lou Duva, George Benton, and two young men by the name of Ronnie Shields and Tommy Brooks.
Yeah,
who were
those were
reared.
the understudies.
And when you saw those guys, you're like, that guy must be a fighter. Mario, our funniest story, we go up to Big Bear. Vasily Girov's preparing for James Toney in the spring of 2003. We arranged through Tommy Brooks, hey, go ahead, come up to Big Bear. So we go up to Big Bear, nice drive, could be clear as can be. So we interview everybody. He's talking to Tommy. I'm talking to Vasily. We take some videos from Max Boxing. As we get out, the fog rolled in. You literally could not see more than 10 feet in front of you, and both of us had to go. So going down the hill on normal vision is probably about, 45 minutes?
Yeah.
That car, and I drove this time, and we're literally going 5 miles per hour because we had to get down the mountain. It took about 2 hours to go. And we actually got on a fork on the road, went the wrong direction, had to circle back.
At some point, I had my window. Yeah, that fog. It was true pea soup. You couldn't see more than like 10 feet in front of the car.
Right.
And if you put your lights on, the fog would just reflect.
So
it
we're
back.
going like
Kim's
this
an
slow.
awful driver anyway.
Well, I'm an Asian driver. There's no
You know
doubt
what?
about it.
He handled his business
No.
that day. I had the
What, dude?
window rolled down. I had to look because I didn't want to go over an edge.
Yeah, neither did I.
No, I've been in that situation.
At some point, I opened the door.
That's a
at
good
the
move.
pavement, yeah.
There's nothing scarier. I've been there in that fog kind of thing. It's like a horror movie.
Yeah.
You don't know where I had to pull over. I just had to kind
Mario,
of try to
I
wait
was
it
so
out.
tense like this whole time until you finally hit like the last quarter. So all of a sudden, the next morning, I woke up. There was a tension in my shoulders and back. I felt like I had spasms because you're like
your sinuses were all messed up too.
And we just said, "Wow!" Well, I remember one time we took Brian Valoria up to the mountain, and it started to snow. And halfway through, he said, "We don't have chains. We don't have chains. We just turned the way back." But Tommy Brooks really did represent.
Now, do you remember an old timer? I think is still with us. Phil Torrance was in part of that training camp.
Damn, you guys are old.
And it makes me think of the trainers that Tommy Brooks learned from. Phil Torrance, who was himself was an understudy of Eddie Futch, and Brooks also learned from Eddie Futch, George Benton, Lou Duva,
and Archie Moore.
That's who started him out.
I didn't know that he grew up in San Diego, went to Morse High School, and then went to the Archie Moore Youth Center.
It was ABC. It was Any Boy Can. That was his youth program.
No,
started boxing there, and then became a notable amateur boxer in the military.
Actually beat Michael Spinks in an AAU tournament in 1975.
Right before Spinks made the 1976 Olympic team.
Wow. Yeah, so that'll be in the October edition, a tribute to Tommy Brooks.
That's the October
1976.
edition.
What year? That was your senior year,
right?
Oh,
shut up. Yeah. Yeah, you had just graduated, by the way.
That was kid's senior year in 1970.
Catch us streaming live right on YouTube.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
$1.2 million.
And I'm losing in this fucking game. What the fuck?
There's a 400K flip. If I win by the way, you get 10 grand.
Fucking straddle!
For my fans!
What? I read it twice!
Wow. All in a call.
I'm not fucking leaving!
Raise it up.
All right, going to the Ask Mario and Doug portion of this program. Here's one from TWT Twit Handler 02108. What fighters or fighters did you not appreciate enough until their careers were over?
Ooh, well, that would mean someone who had a very short-lived career.
No. Sometimes Larry Holmes.
Yeah,
everyone in that
there
era
you go. Larry Holmes
really had an appreciation.
Well, he aged well because Larry Holmes obviously had a lot of shine taken off him coming on the heels of Muhammad Ali. But yeah, he's the perfect example of someone who maybe didn't have the charisma and the
to say the least,
and the star power.
Ali ruined me because I expected the heavyweight champion to be a superstar, to have that type of that showbiz persona.
Sure,
and he was just a workman,
and, being a people person and somebody who's super. Way beyond his time, media savvy.
Right.
Like Ali just like invented so much shtick that we see from everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
At least in the boxing world.
He was
Maybe
the pioneer.
we've just seen it in pro wrestling.
In the sports world.
Yeah,
in the sports world.
But in the sports world, nobody could cut a promo like Muhammad Ali.
The Eastern Assassin definitely didn't have that.
Lennox
and
Lewis.
Plus, and I was mad at Holmes for beating Ali.
You should have been mad at the person that put that fight together, though.
Okay,
God,
in my defense, I was 10 years old when that fight happened. Yeah, I did not appreciate him during his career. I appreciated him during his comeback. When he came back, I saw him fight a couple times on like USA
Ray Mercer.
Network. And the Ray Mercer fight, I was so impressed with that. I'm like, man, this guy's the truth.
Lennox Lewis is someone, that I'd add
That's
to that.
another guy. I didn't appreciate him.
Yeah, like I recognized his greatness, but now I was like, no, what he really was.
Yeah.
Great.
You know whose career?
And he's a guy that you can say you can put him in any era, and he would have been.
Pernell Whitaker. I didn't appreciate him as a lightweight. Not until he was a welterweight. Not until he beat Buddy McGirt.
I tell you,
and then after that, I'm like, okay, this guy's the truth.
Yeah.
But he settled down a lot as a welterweight. He was still defensively savvy, and just still brilliant. But he was planting his feet. He was right in front of you.
That last era of
as a lightweight, he was more on that southpaw jab and the stick and move game.
Defensively, I always appreciated him defensively. But even like Melvin Taylor, how fast his hands were. His hands were so freaking fast, dude. Even by today's standards, like, damn.
Taylor's a guy I love, like right out of the Olympics.
Oh, yeah, because
fan friendly.
Steve, I got one. Zab Judah. I was a Zab
No, he used
Judah
to hate
hater.
him. He used to hate
I
him.
was a Costa Zoo man.
Zab used to. Zab did not like Doug. And I love that.
Yeah. I like him now. I think we're cool. Hopefully, but. Yeah, you used to big up Zab on your radio show all
love
the time.
Zab.
And you'd give your baker's dozen. That was Steve.
Yeah, I put
pound
him
for
at
pound
13
top 12.
one time.
Yeah, and I'd call him like, why is Zab Judah on there? Like, but after a while, I think it was after the Costa Zoo fight. He's
Went into St. Louis to beat Corey Spinks
I
in
remember
a
that.
rematch.
After that
when
Spinks fight, I'm like, this
Nelly
guy's a
walked him
real
out to
one.
the ring. Remember Nelly walked? It was a great ring walk. And he got blasted out.
Corey
So
Spinks, that
we
was a
talk
great
about
ring walk.
a career, and God rest his soul, he just passed away this summer. Mike McCallum, all-time great
the body
50.
snatcher.
But I tell you what's surprising. You know a guy that I really appreciate more and more, and I was one of the few LA media members that would talk stuff. I was not a fan. I was more of a critic, but I appreciate his contributions, and I was lucky to have covered this career up close.
Oscar De La Hoya?
Yes. No, we missed those days.
You used to trash him.
Oh, my God.
Any potential rival of Oscar De La Hoya, Steve was on their bandwagon. So Ike Corte.
Love Ike.
Oscar fights him, wins, and then Steve's like,
I admit
Felix Trinidad.
Oscar should be at the top of that list, fighters that you would appreciate with time, because Oscar, say what you
Made
want.
it big.
Now,
He fought
not
the
only did
fights.
he fought the fights in guys in their prime when we saw each other walking up. He has a shirt
fights
on.
Tito
He
when
fights
Tito's in his
Trinidad.
20s and
They're in their
undefeated.
20s. They're undefeated. It's the prime of their life.
Ike Corte in his 20s, undefeated.
Obakar.
Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley,
Manny
undefeated
Pacquiao.
in his 20s.
Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
He went up and fought freaking Hopkins when he was still had 10 years left.
I'm going to say this
fight.
right now.
Yeah, you're right. Mayweather undefeated and in his prime.
Yeah, and when he fought the Reles brothers, Chicanito Hernandez.
Chicanito was
Leija.
unbeaten in his 20s.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's impressive,
If
bro.
the biggest names in boxing today acted and had the career like De La Hoya, we'd be a better sport.
would.
And for that, I salute the Golden Boy. I still remember when the Trinidad fight, for 3 hours, I kept trying to tell people, I don't know, I thought Trinidad won. I got some of the biggest hate calls. It was the funniest thing. The phone lines were just packed. I'd say, no, because I actually thought it was a close fight. That's just my opinion.
I was there
Yeah, I know
with
you. I know he
You
thinks
were there.
that. Well, he's
No,
biased.
it was like the last few rounds, but still, I thought he had enough in the bank.
Yeah.
I thought I had 7-5. I had it 7-5.
I thought Oscar did enough to win.
Here's
Same
one
score.
from Alejandro Salido. Do you think the Zone would be in a better shape regarding boxing if they hadn't done the Canelo deal 7 years ago? Or would this pay-per-view every couple of weeks, was it bound to happen? Doug, me and you have talked about this. I think the Zone original marketing plan of pay-per-view is dead. I
that was a
believe
mistake.
it was completely disastrous.
Yeah, I think what they should have done, they shouldn't have built a whole campaign. Their identity shouldn't have been bye-bye pay-per-view. It shouldn't have been that. It should have been you're going to see the best fighters fight on this platform, and most of it will be covered with your subscription, your monthly subscription.
Nobody
But
likes
for
getting
big
lied to.
fights,
You're exactly right.
But for big fights, just leave the door open for pay-per-view. And yes, I think the Canelo deal was a mistake because the minimums that they were paying Canelo, that's the kind of money Canelo made when he fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who was a big name.
And Golovkin.
Or Gennady Golovkin, who was a bona fide attraction in his own right and arguably pound for pound at the time. But that's not what Canelo was making when he fought Liam Smith, right?
Amir
That was
Khan.
pay-per-view, or Amir Khan. Right, exactly. So that, they should have, they were losing money by having to cover those minimums. And that, I think that eventually forced them to renege on that whole claim of no more pay-per-view.
Well, you feel betrayed. And once you betray the audience, they can't trust you. They're not going to want to support you. They're not going to want to watch you. So, yeah, we were with Blanket. Remember? He was talking about DAZN and saying, why
And
do I-
he's the guy they got to have. It's like the
Right.
non-hardcore casual guy that likes
the guy
sports.
from Ohio who
Right.
likes sports and watch the fights and like, damn,
But-
what happened to the...
To be fair, when ESPN Plus first started, I clearly heard, "Hey guys, no more pay-per-view." They said that.
I don't remember hearing that.
Also the PBC, free boxing for all.
boxing, yeah.
It didn't stay that way.
As soon as the money runs out.
And also, in terms of what they had to pay Canelo contractually, I remember the opponents were now getting 8 figures.
That's the
And
other
I'm like,
side.
what?
Right.
that's crazy.
And they made a mistake with that. That was, they overspent. too
And if
soon.
you can't-
and you know what? They were overspending on everything. No different from the PBC when they launched. They were going to overspend to,
And Doug,
make a big splash.
me and you have talked about it. If you can't trust Tracy Morgan, you can't. Who can you trust? Here's one from Woody Woodpecker. One serious question. Who do you believe seriously wants to fight more, Virgil or Xander?
Virgil. I do because I think Virgil feels very confident that he can beat him. He's faced the tougher competition, the better competition.
Far tougher.
Far tougher. He's beating world champions.
Yeah.
Yes, technically, I guess he's not a world champion. I'd love your thoughts on that. But
look at the ring rankings and see where they're rated.
well, that's exactly.
That'll tell you everything.
That will tell exactly. Where are they
see.
rated? That's exactly
You know
it.
what? As of the printing of this issue, Xander wasn't even in it.
There you
Xander cracked our rankings with his last fight.
And what is Virgil?
And by the way, who was that guy? I can't even remember his name.
Chino Garcia. I only remember that because of his nickname.
Where does
Chino.
Virgil come in?
Virgil's like number 2.
Yeah, he's number 2.
There you go. There you go. And what are your thoughts of him?
And really, he should be number 1 because Crawford's our number 1. Crawford's never going to fight at junior middleweight again.
I agree. What are your thoughts of him essentially agreeing to the fight but demanding it be in Puerto Rico?
That's deflection. That's deflection.
Is it or what about the people that are saying he's the champion, he does deserve
Listen, I don't doubt Zayas. I think he really does want to fight anybody out there. He's a fighter and he's young. When you're 21, you feel invincible.
Sure.
He's never had his ass kicked. Why wouldn't he believe in himself?
Right.
And he's one of those guys, he's not elite in any one category, but he's solid all around.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fight a smart game plan, if you're intelligent with that base ability, with that kind of foundation, you can win. You can beat guys who are elite in terms of hand speed or punching power or physical strength.
But Doug,
if you're just good all around.
But don't you wish he had?
You got to put it all together.
But Doug, don't you wish you could hit just that much harder? That's the thing.
I've never been super impressed by Zayas, and I hate saying that because he seems like a beautiful human being.
He is,
and he definitely has star potential. I definitely think that Top Rank is going to take him to the island for his first defense, but Top Rank's been in this business longer than anybody, and they're not going to. His first defense is not going to be a risky opponent like Virgil Ortiz.
No, exactly.
And they know that. And I think Zayas has to know that, even though he may really want it, he has to know that his brain trust does not want it. So I think that's a bit disingenuous. Where like you're saying, yeah, bring it on, but you know your own promoter.
Golden Boy wouldn't do that fight if they had Zayas.
Of course not.
Let's be honest. And Top Rank is looking for a new television partner, right?
Right.
And one of the ways you sell it is, hey, we got Zayas.
Exactly.
That's one of our stars.
We have the next Puerto Rican star. We're going to build this guy into Felix Trinidad.
And by the way, I loved Oscar's message on the 18th hole. But here's the thing, though, Oscar. I get it. I'm with you about 98% of that message. This ain't Trinidad de la Hoya. Why does it automatically have to be pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, he's right. The U.S. scene is stale, but pay-per-view is part of that reason.
Yeah.
I hope that fight does come to fruition. I think hopefully, inevitably, it will. And if I'm Ortiz, I'm willing to go to Puerto Rico because I still think I'm that confident that I think he'll still.
Yeah,
he'll
he's bringing
still
his
prevail.
judges.
Yeah. Exactly. Look at Salido.
Salido did it twice.
Exactly.
To Juanma.
Great fights.
Oh. Both were Fight of the Year candidates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's
and
one.
those fights ruined poor Juanma.
Here's one from Easy Ed Anderson. Gun to your head. Does anyone not name Usyk beat Itauma? And do we really need to see him run through a bunch of guys that won't actually prepare him for that generational style matchup?
That's a question. Well, we talked about this earlier. I don't think a bunch of guys, but I think a good handful, like
Joseph Parker,
Dubois, Bacoli, and Zhang, I think,
they are needed. I agree with you.
Those guys, I think he does need to test himself that if he wants a legitimate shot at trying to
can't swim
Usyk.
the English Channel if you can't get on the deep end of the pool a little bit. I'm with you on that one.
And you're a good swimmer, Kim, so that's good.
I'm glad you admit that.
I want to say it again. F.A. Ajagba is a good step
that is
opponent
because he's dangerous, he's big, he's got some size, and he's got experience. Here's one from Vintage Boxing, great YouTube channel. Hey guys, Mario, the great Roberto Duran leapfrogged junior welterweight and went from 35 to 47, put in my opinion, his career best performance against Sugar Ray Leonard. If he would have fought at 140, the dream matchup is El Cholo against Aaron the Hawk Pryor. Who gets the win, guys?
Ooh, listen,
I like Duran.
So do I. In his prime, from that 35 to 47 weight class there, I don't think anybody was messing with Duran, really, honestly. Yeah. Especially that was the 15-round era, too, right?
Yeah. And, when is this fight taking place? 79, 1980?
79 to 81. I mean, look, here's the thing.
No. He fought Leonard in 80.
And so twice, in fact, yeah.
He left the lightweight division, I think,
in
early 79.
Yeah.
Right. And then he had, 5 or 6 fights where he was weighing, at first he was weighing at, 140, 143, and then built himself up to 147 when he faced Carlos Palomino. And Palomino, by the way, #1 contender at welterweight. He had just lost the title. So Duran really earned that shot. He didn't get that shot on just his name. He literally earned the shot by beating contenders.
No, absolutely. And to think that he continued to go up all the way to super middleweight.
Yeah. And the thing about
that's amazing.
The thing about Aaron Pryor, and I was a huge Aaron Pryor fan, was he had amazing talent. He was a two-fisted banger, pressure, volume, but also he had that Soul Brother style. He had this constant head movement. He very ghetto, in there, very big chip on his shoulder, a lot of heart, but he was also reckless.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who would get dropped by
DeJuan Johnson.
Yeah, like contenders, but maybe more fringe contender level guys, and even a former featherweight in Alexis Arguello. Granted, an all-time great fighter, period. Pound for pound.
Had him looking like the Pez dispenser.
Yeah.
Those
Featherweight,
right hands.
he was a 3-division champion. Featherweight, junior lightweight, where I think he was at his best. Lightweight, and then stepping up to 140. That was his 4th weight class. And they took each other to hell. So I'm just thinking, if Arguello is flipping your head like that,
right?
Man, and Duran had a hell of a right hand.
Oh no, a hell of a right hand.
And Duran could stay in the pocket with him too. It's not because Arguello
he was like defensively.
Arguello's at his best from a distance.
Correct.
Keeping you at the end of the jab and then boom, the perfect right
The
hand.
more aggressive you are against that version of Duran, you're getting put through the wood chipper.
That's what he loved.
It's like being aggressive against James Toney.
Right.
That's exactly right.
You're playing into his strengths.
Exactly. Like the one fight I always wished happened that didn't happen, but I still got to favor him is with Ray Leonard would have fought with the Hawk.
But I think Leonard destroys
I still
Too big.
think Leonard.
I'm
both
with
of
you.
their primes that
I poo-poo anyone who says that Ray Leonard was avoiding him. I'm like,
Ray Leonard to
when?
me,
Like what year? When was that fight supposed to take place?
Right.
Best pound for pound to me, Ray Leonard. I even put him over
he's
Ray
the greatest
Robinson.
living fighter, if not Roberto Duran.
Here's a question from Cato's Knife. Very, very, very pointed question. How severe is the mental retardation of the potential buyers of the Fundura Thurman pay-per-view? And do they qualify for protection under the Americans with Disability Act of 1990? Of course,
I like this guy.
Those who buy it for work reasons are excluded, that's us, from this psychiatric study. Thank you. I have a question. Again, this is where boxing just... Why isn't Virgil Ortiz and his team calling out, I don't know, Fundura?
Yeah, why are you paying sanctioning fees for this WBC interim title, if not to get him to the guy who holds the full WBC belt, which is Fundura?
What's
the point of these interim titles if they're not going to force this sort of mandatory?
It's almost like a shield.
Bring the titles together.
I don't get Thurman. Why is he so marketable? The guy fights once every 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, and he's kind of quirky, but he's not that interesting.
No, is he? Yeah.
No, one time has run his course.
Once every other year time or every 3 years.
I mean, there's a reason he traveled to Australia to fight a nobody.
I mean, I was a little bit disappointed when Golden Boy and Virgil Ortiz, they thought they had the Thurman fight. They spent the whole month. They were on the 1 yard line. And then all of a sudden, reports started coming out. And that's how now it looks like Virgil Ortiz, he's not going to fight either one of the guys we mentioned. And look, it's a good fight. He's going to fight the dangerous Eric Lubin, which then leaves Bakram Murtalazayev without a fight again. And speaking of which, here's a question from Anson Wainwright, our colleague at Ring Magazine. Who is your Mount Rushmore boogeyman of all time and current? Well, I'd say half the stable of Egis Klimas.
Right now it's
Janabek. Janabek?
Yeah, nobody wants Janabek.
Bakram. Yeah. I think Mike McCallum had problems getting fights.
Mike McCallum all time.
Would you put Rigondo in there? Rigondo?
Yeah. I mean... 122-pounders didn't want to fight him.
Triple G in his prime.
Yep,
yes.
He didn't want to fight him.
Marvin Hagler before the politicians got involved.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, it is amazing.
Sonny Liston.
Sonny Liston.
All time.
I love me some Sonny Liston.
Here's a question from Clay Stevenson, longtime listener. Hey, guys, is it me or is Golden Boy currently the most stable American promoter in boxing? Top Rank is on questionable ground, and the PBC output has diminished.
Yeah, well, PBC is in some rough waters. Top Rank, I don't know. Like I say, they've been around. They've been around longer than anybody. If they say they're working on a new deal, a new platform deal, I believe them. And they still have so much talent, young talent, under contract. But I will say, Golden Boy's looking good. They have a healthy stable. I think it was a really positive sign that they left the safe confines of Southern California and went to Chicago recently.
Yes.
I like
Who
that.
was in
Good
the main
show.
event? Who was in that main
It was
event?
Duarte Sims. Good fight.
And that was a good fight.
And Pro Grey Diaz was a
The
good
card was pretty good.
Yeah, and they've got talent like Virgil Ortiz Jr. and the little guy from Puerto Rico.
Oscar
who I love.
Collazo.
Collazo, yep. He's a Ring Magazine strawweight champion. And
Does
a
Ryan
unified
Garcia
title
come
holder.
back?
I don't know. I discount Ryan. I really do. I don't. He's his own thing. I look at him as being outside of boxing, to be quite honest.
Ooh.
I mean, no, listen, whenever he wants to dip his toe in there, boxing's going to open his door to him because he moves the needle. But after what he did in Times Square, that was a big stinky egg that he laid. I can't trust him.
That's what I'm curious to see about the next
Mario,
move.
speaking of which, so Ryan Garcia is going to fight one time this year, right? Looks like Tank Davis will have one fight. Devin Haney will probably fight twice if that fight with Brian Norman goes through.
Yeah, hopefully it
Teofimo
does.
looks like he's going to have one fight. That
Yeah,
literally
one fight.
means that quartet's going to average less than about 1.2 fights between the whole four.
Awful.
That to me, they're supposed to carry this game. Final question from Kevin the Trucker, the Twitter artist. All right, I think I've seen enough. Just throw Moses Itauma in there with Usyk. That's the fight Turkey wants, and with Itauma's hand speed and power, this might not be young Canelo getting schooled by Floyd, and maybe more Tyson Burbick. Yeah, but Burbick is no Usyk, though.
That is disrespectful to Alexander,
It is.
man.
No.
Come on.
Look, it's easy to make history
Enough
and
with the
fight
false
guy-
equivalencies,
No, I
please.
agree, because it's easy to make history at age 20 when it's Burbick, who literally was kind of an up-and-down journeyman who would beat Pinklin Thomas in an upset that March. When we're talking about Usyk, the ultimate pro, that is a much more difficult
Usyk,
hurdle.
you're talking about a former world amateur champion, an Olympic gold medalist,
A unified
former
cruiserweight.
former undisputed cruiserweight, a complete fighter. Okay, Burbick was strong and awkward and insane.
It's a good
and
combo.
Insane didn't scare that.
That's a good combo.
Insane did not scare that version of Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like no.
No, it's not. It's not.
totally
It's
different.
not a fair comparison. But again, going back to when we started this podcast, if a chunk of money is thrown your way, how can you not?
You got to do. You got to go for
You
it.
got to do it. And much like
Hey, look,
Canelo,
even if he gets blown out, like we were talking about Zab Judah. Zab Judah got blown out by Kostya Tszyu a couple years later.
Yeah.
Undisputed welterweight champion of the world.
That's what I'm
okay?
saying. That's what I'm saying. You got to take the bag.
Yeah.
You gotta
Youth
take
is
the bag.
on his side.
It is.
Champions are not born. They're forged. Every challenge is an opportunity. Every setback, a lesson. But this is not just about winning. This is about turning the ordinary into the extraordinary and becoming undisputed. Available now.
All right, anyway, guys, as we move on here, are you looking to get involved with the 3 Knockdown Rule and sponsor our show? We have some spots available. Please email us at info@boxbid.io. Once again, that's info@boxbid.io. Boxbid is an online platform that helps professional boxers connect with their fans by providing exclusive Fight Week merchandise, memorabilia, and sponsorships. You can even buy a shout-out on Boxbid. Boxbid.io handles our sponsorships, and we are proudly working with them.
Final flurries.
Going on to final flurries, Mario. When I was at your house about a month and a half ago, I went downstairs. I'm gonna lie to you. Those Ring magazines in your workout area near the speed bag, not a hell of a job there.
They look good. I was
Like an
telling- I
old
was telling
school gym.
Like an old school gym. What took Doug fucking months to get back to me, but finally did.
You know what? Another shameless plug. That's another thing I like about the new ring. Every issue comes with a poster.
Hey,
Yeah.
there we
And
go.
One of the things you always saw in old school gyms, you would see Ring
KO.
magazine covers, but KO magazine
The fold-out.
posters.
That's
the
right.
fold-out.
Fold-out
Came out
posters, and we
That's
got that.
right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. No, it's fun, man. Then I got this cool speed bag from Italy with it was meant because that.
What's so special about a speed bag?
Well, no, the actual platform, right? Because I was trying to work with these guys right here. Dude, it's a lot more difficult, and the guys are shady and the whole thing. So this one guy, I found this guy in Italy, as a matter of fact. You saw it. It's beautiful. It's like oak. It's like, you know what I mean?
Oh, really?
It's, I'm be able to hand it down.
Craftsmanship, yeah.
Craftsmanship. I'm be able to hand it down to my boys, and they'll be able to hand it down to
nice.
their boys. So, and it is in there. So yeah, that, and I got my little setup ready to go right there.
Yeah, and Doug, today you actually took back one of your kids to school, so they go back. We talked about this couple. They go back
It was
in
last week, last Thursday.
Oh, they already went back. See, mine.
LA Unified is back in school.
So my boys go tomorrow on a Tuesday from 9 to 12. Well, what's with the 9 to 12?
What's the point?
3 hours. What's the point?
What is the point
That's
of that?
ridiculous. So they go tomorrow from 9 to 12. Then I guess Wednesday they really start their normal schedule. But my daughter doesn't even go till next week. So it's a little
that's
bit
better, though.
It's a little bit better.
But
It's a
we
little bit
didn't know
better.
how good we had it.
Dude, we didn't go till after Labor Day, right?
Oh, exactly. Like
Yeah.
we were away from school so long, we were actually looking
Yeah, you're
forward
right.
to it. We
You're
were
right.
sick of it.
You're right.
Even though we still hated seeing those back to school ads, didn't we?
in August, but now you
Yeah.
see them in July, and you're like, oh man, it's
I was ready to go back to school. I missed
Really?
my friends. I was ready. Yeah. I mean, 3 long months. I'm like, I've done everything there is to do. I've gone to the lake 30 times. You know what I mean? It's
you
like,
actually want to wake
get
up
back to
before
school.
noon. Yeah, because I used to follow
I had
that
a paper
habit.
route back in the
Kim
day.
had
so I
that
had to get
long
up early
trek from
anyways.
that log cabin to his school.
I used to walk 8 miles up the hill in snow when I was a kid. All right, well, Doug, as always, we'll probably see you in Vegas in a couple weeks, right?
will.
We're going to
Absolutely.
see you in Vegas. That's going to be a good time. What are your
It's gonna
thoughts
be
on the
fun.
stadium, man?
I can't wait. It's very rare that we get outdoor stadium fights in
Yes.
the U.S. We've been to stadium fights in Texas.
Dallas. Sure, I've been those
with,
too.
with Canelo and with Manny Pacquiao.
By the way, I was at those fights
Outdoor?
too. And those had a roof. Here's the
They
thing.
had a roof.
Does Allegiant have a roof?
I thought it was outdoor. I've never been to it. This will be my first time being to Allegiant.
I've been there, and I was there for the WW for WrestleMania.
Is it
and stuff.
retractable?
I think it's retractable because I was gonna say because it's not. It's still very toasty because it's not like Caesar's Palace back in the day when they didn't. I remember
Yeah.
being there for fights, and it was like 100 and something. And I'm like,
no.
those poor fighters are gonna die in there.
Yeah, no, we don't want that.
Do you remember those? Remember those?
Mario,
back in
when
the-
I went to
God.
De La Hoya Chavez 1, I remember looking because I got something at 8:12. The fighters were about to walk in. It was 114.
114. Kim, what about the fight? What about the fighters that fought at like
it's not
5
safe.
o'clock,
Right.
6 o'clock earlier though?
Right.
It must have been 120.
The
then, you know what I mean?
the famous story is Stevie Cruz upsetting Barry McGuigan, the Irishman, because it was in one of those cards in '86, and they said McGuigan in the last 6 rounds just melted in front of us, and he lost his
Heat
title.
exhaustion.
Huge,
Yeah, it's a real-
huge
it's a
Oh,
upset.
that was. I couldn't believe that
Yeah.
was even sanctioned. They were able to do that, but I'm
But-
pretty sure they have to go retractable.
Allegiant seats 70,000. So that's going to be something.
Now, you
That's
got the
awesome.
inside scoop. Are there going to be cards on that Thursday and Friday
Yes.
leading into
Oh,
Saturday?
yes, they will. Where at? Do you
Yeah.
know by chance?
I don't
or-
know where at.
Wow, that's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and one last thing. Doug Rye, everybody, we love you guys. We don't know who's doing the credentials. We've been asked numerous times.
Everybody, they won't leave me alone.
Right, you've all of a sudden become Andy
I'm just
Olsen.
saying, I don't know, guys.
It's like
I
you got
don't know.
Taylor Swift tickets or something.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be an official announcement, maybe in a couple weeks.
Let's hope so. All right, well, that's it for this week's edition of the 3 Knockdown Rule. I'd like to thank our guest, Doug Fischer. Again, if you want to sponsor our show, email us at info@boxbid.io on behalf of Mario Lopez and Smoking Tim Frazier. This is Steve Kim saying till next week, goodbye, everybody.
Hey guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our show on YouTube. It's fun. It's funny. I break this guy's balls. His wig looks crazy every week, but it's still worth doing it. Check out these badass shirts we got right now.
Here's the
Check
thing,
it out.
though, even though Mario's on it, you'll still learn something, and it's still some insightful analysis, and then I bring the funny, and I don't know what he brings.
No.
What are you talking about? I'm the star of the show here.
You bring the grumpy.
Oh, but the
You
grumpy,
bring the grumpy.
anyway,
I'll bring
like
the
and
charm for you.
subscribe.
Yes,
3
please.
Knockdown
We
Rule.
appreciate you.